Hey, we are live. We are doing it. I'm sure I'm still in the penalty box with TikTok. That's wonderful. They're not going to invite anybody out to the chat. So I'm all excited about that. They're the live. Welcome to TikTok Live. Have fun interacting. But they don't put out the comment that we're inviting people to join. Meetwa, Dylan joined. Thank you guys. What fantasy questions do you have on my poultry little TikTok channel that is in the penalty box for a video that I created, but they swear that I copied from someone? Hello, we need more people to join. Yes, Dylan, I agree. Why not? You can share the live stream. It's really, I'm telling you right now, it's because of a video. I make my own videos. I don't copy anybody. You can look at every single one of my videos. It's my voice, it's my face. And then so TikTok thinks that I copy my videos off of people, and they put me in the penalty box, and I appealed, but they're taking their sweet time to get back to me. So just one of those things. Thanks everybody for joining. We're going to have a tight little bunch as I'm in the penalty box with TikTok for a video that they swear I didn't make, but I appealed and said I did in fact make it. So I don't look for these numbers to be well over 10 or anything like that. You never know. Jasmine, our kids have the right to choose their gender without parents in control. All right. Yeah, we're not getting political here. We're not getting political here. I know it's the election. Okay, Dylan, Saints or Chargers defense? Let's look it up. Let me move this over. Saints or Chargers defense? New Orleans. I still want to say San Diego. I know that's wrong, but okay. Saints, not so great. Let's look at LA. Hey, we're up at 6 now. A lot of people have joined, but I don't understand this. Since I'm in the penalty box with TikTok, I don't understand. There's a lot of people that have joined, but it says there's only 9 people on. So I guess everybody joins and then leaves. I'm not even sure. Let me look up the Chargers here. See if I can spell Los Angeles. I mean, I lived there for 5 years. You think I'd know how to spell it. They play Cleveland. They play Carolina. So New Orleans in the last 4 weeks has had 4-9, so that's 13. They've had 20 points. The Chargers' last 4 games, they've had 8-7, 15. They've had 30. Yeah, I would go with the Chargers, although New Orleans plays. Yeah, I would go with the Chargers just because they have a bigger lead, sort of speak, on defense. So that's why I would go with the Chargers. I think they're a better all-around team. I know New Orleans plays, well, you know what? Hold on a second. Bryce Young is starting for Carolina. So maybe you go with New Orleans in the fact that Bryce Young isn't going to be able to do anything, and that should keep the numbers for New Orleans defense better, if you will. So, yeah, I would do that. All right. We don't have any questions on YouTube. I'm on YouTube and Twitch like I always am. Okay, Javi, assuming that's the way you say it. Kareem Hunt, Tyrone Tracy, or David Montgomery for flex? Well, that's a good problem to have. Those are some good players. We'll look up Tracy. As I always do, I'm looking up the analytics for this. I got to watch how I sit in these chairs. I get kind of hunched over. I mean, Tracy had 22 and had that concussion. What was it? You had, Josh Lynch. Thank you for the rose. You'll be next. And then Justin, you'll be after Josh. Thank you both for the roses. Let me just, since I'm in the middle of this, let me just get and figure this one out, and I can help you with your defense. Tracy, Hunt, and Monty. Those are pretty good names to have, pretty good people to have. Okay, Hunt, all right, and then Montgomery. And then I'll get to Josh. All right. Still nothing over at YouTube. We got 2 people. Don't forget to hit that like. And also don't forget, hit that like on YouTube. Hit it on TikTok. Hit the follow on TikTok. Even though I'm kind of in the penalty box, eventually it'll probably be lifted because I've appealed and everything's going to be fine. They just don't think I made these videos because they're horizontal. And I think that raises a red flag with them. Like I stole them off somebody's YouTube page, but they're my videos. I mean, I'm in the videos. I'm talking in the videos. Okay, so Monty Kareem. Okay, now if you look at Tyrone Tracy, and they play Washington, he should have a pretty good game. Kansas City, Kareem Hunt plays Tampa Bay. He should have a pretty good game. Montgomery plays Green Bay. Now, Green Bay isn't out of this world on defense. I know. Hold on. I'm hunching over again. God, I hunch. They're 15 overall defense. Let me just see what they do on the rush defense. Packers. Not Panthers, Packers. Yeah, Packers are number 10 rush defense, so a tight matchup. Here's what I would say about that is, now, Tyrone Tracy, 3 of the last 4 weeks, he's gotten over 13 points in a 10-team league. That's what you want. Kareem Hunt, the last 3 weeks, has given you 18, 21, 12. I think against Tampa Bay, it's going to be much like San Francisco-ish. Let me just see if I'm right about that defensively. So the 49ers and the Buccaneers. Buccaneers are 30th out of 32. Where are the 49ers? 49ers are actually 10th. So Kareem Hunt can have a big game. I think he's just putting up, he's the number one. He's the one that always gets the ball. He's the go-to back in Kansas City. He makes that offense go to a certain extent outside of Patrick Mahomes. So I'm going to, hey, Bob's here. Hey, Bob, thanks for joining. Bob, just to let you know, I guess I'm in the TikTok penalty box because one of my videos this week was violated their originality clause that I posted. I think it's just because it's horizontal. I mean, I'm talking in it. It's my voice. There's a little picture of me in the bottom window, bottom left. So, but for the last, actually since Halloween, I've had very low viewer numbers. And so I've been in the penalty box for 3 days, which stinks. Edward, hello. Pink Palm Puff fan. Hello. We're talking fantasy tonight, guys. I would go with Kareem Hunt just because I think he's very consistent. He's a centerpiece of that offense. Not to say that Tracy isn't, but I think that they're not necessarily a passing offense anymore, Kansas City. I think they're a run defense or a run offense. And Montgomery puts up good numbers, but I think that, Kareem gives you consistency at a good number. Now, he had 12.8 last week, but if you round up to 13, that's your 13 points that I'm always talking about for a 10-team league. So I would go with Kareem Hunt in that scenario. I mean, I think Montgomery is great. I think Tracy's great. If you wanted to start one of them because you thought the matchup was a little bit better, maybe not against Green Bay so much with Montgomery, but maybe with Tracy and Washington. Let's see what Washington's Commanders overall is 13, but let's see what their rush defense is. They're 25th, so and the Buccaneers rush defense is 19. So it's not too big of a difference, but I just think Hunt's a little bit more consistent. Hey, we got 28 people. That's the most I've gotten since Wednesday before my penalty box with TikTok. All right. So now let me get to Josh. I'll go to Justin and then I'll go to Bob. Those are the ones that have gifted on what we call TikTok. If anybody on YouTube has any questions, just put them in the chat. I will get to you. Let me get to Josh first. I'm just going in the order, guys. I see a lot of, okay. Saints or New England defense? Let's look it up. A lot of defense questions today. I like this. Something a little bit different. It's not that, I'm not constantly looking up Mooney or something like that. Saints or New England? New Orleans. New England. Okay, New Orleans. Let's look at that. Let's look at New England. All right. Yeah, New England is now they're playing Tennessee. Tennessee actually has a very good defense. That I know that has nothing to do with New England's defense, but against Miami, New England had 10 points, and against Cincinnati, they had 11. Otherwise, they've been held to 5 points or below. You want your defense to get you at least 10 points or close to it week in and week out. So that's a huge red flag to me. New England only has 31 points all year as a defensive team. New Orleans, yeah, I would go with New Orleans. Now, they're not that much better, but they didn't get -1 like New Orleans did 2 weeks ago. Yeah, going backwards, New Orleans has 1, a -1, 0, and 10. So I don't want to take a chance on saying, oh, go with them and they give you 0 points or -1. At least with New Orleans, you can go, last 4 weeks, they have 4, 9, 2, 5. Those aren't great numbers, but at least I would rather take a 5 than a 0 or a 1 or a -1 or whatever the case is. And New Orleans also goes up against Carolina, and with Bryce Young, you probably want that defense in there because he is not a very good he's not a very good quarterback. So I think New Orleans will easily put up good numbers because Bryce Young is the quarterback. Now, Josh, you're saying I think Pollard might not play. Well, let's look up Pollard real quick and see what they say on the notes, because sometimes, oh man, what am I doing? I'm looking up Lynch, not Pollard. All right, he's still listed as questionable. Pollard's foot is questionable for week 9. Pollard did not practice this week before being given questionable tag. This is normally a clear indicator that a player will not suit up, but with Tajay Spears already ruled out, the Titans are giving him until last minute to turn things around. Pollard will have the Tennessee backfield himself, blah, 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 facing off against a poor Patriots run defense. Pollard will stay. Okay, so it looks like they're very desperate, and he's going to be a late, game time decision, Tony Pollard. So it looks like they're going to push him to play, even though he's probably not healthy enough to play. So, so that's why New England might have some issues. I really think, though, New Orleans is a safe bet because they're playing Bryce Young at quarterback, so he's going to make them look good alone. All right, Justin. Let's go to Justin. Chuba or Ramadre at flex. Okay, here's the thing with Chuba, and I'm just going to look this up because I've been saying it. I haven't looked it up for a little bit of time, for a couple days. Let me just double check because, all I do is look at numbers all day. If you look at the games that Chuba really played when Young was a quarterback, like the first 2 weeks. Now, he did get week 3, he got 25. I think, I don't know who was the quarterback in week 3. I don't know if they made the switch to Dalton. I think they might have. He does, and last week with Young as the quarterback, he only got 8.1 points, okay? So he doesn't put up good numbers with Young as the quarterback, and Young will be the quarterback this weekend again. Andy Dalton is still out with that sprained thumb from the accident in the car with his family. So you're looking for Stevenson. Stevenson has some good numbers, not too consistent. Last week, 22 points, then 3.5. Then I guess he didn't play at all. Then 17, then 6, then 0.3, 16, 20. Obviously, it doesn't necessarily matter as much who the quarterback is when we're talking running backs. Hey, everyone. Happy Saturday, says Daniel Berry, Sports Highlights. He's always on. Aldo Gavaria on YouTube. I'll get to your question when I'm done with the gifters here. Thank you, Josh Lynch. Why do I keep saying Lynch? Thank you for the heart me. I appreciate that. Very nice. I guess you would have to go with Stevenson because he has a bigger upside. And with Young at the quarterback, Okay, so Young at the quarterback, I don't think that Chuba gets more than 10 points. And in a 10-team league, now if you're in a 14-team league, maybe you go with Chuba because it'll get you maybe 10 points. But in a 10-team league, you want Chuba to be getting you 13 points week in and week out at flex or running back or wide receiver position. If you want wide receivers, running backs in your flex to get you 13 or higher points every week in a 10-team league. And that's what most everyone plays in that's on here. So I would go with Stevenson because he gives you an upside. Okay, so there may be a little bit of a gamble. The safe pick might be going with Chuba because maybe you can be assured of getting 8 to 9 points, but that's not enough in a 10-team league. A 14-team league, it's not so bad. So I'm leaning towards Stevenson because I don't like Young at quarterback for Carolina. It's just a bad matchup. And I'm leaning towards Stevenson, but if you want to maybe go for 8 points and you're okay with that, it's steadier, but it's not enough to really help you win. You're going to have to make up 5 points from some other player. But if you don't mind a risk, you can go with Stevenson. I can't predict that he's going to get 22 points. He's going against Tennessee. Tennessee actually has a good defense and it's in Tennessee, but I could see where he might get Stevenson. This is obviously, I think he can get double digits. I think he can get close to 13, but I guess we'll know after the fact, but until then, I would say Stevenson is probably a better pick, but if you don't, but a little riskier than I just lost the guy's name. I can't think of it. God. I'm looking all over. Yes, it's TikTok and YouTube, Nathaniel. It was Stevenson. Hold on. I feel so stupid now. This was Justin. Yeah, Chuba. Yeah. I just drew a complete blank on that. Yeah, so with Young quarterbacking, it's a little bit riskier too. So I would go with Stevenson, but if you don't mind getting 8 points, maybe you go with Chuba. So, all right. Sorry about losing my mind there, but okay, Bob, let me see. I know you had a question. Chuba, yeah, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm kind of annoyed. I must say I've been annoyed all day. I've been annoyed since like late last night because I realized that the violation is probably putting me in the penalty box at TikTok where I'm not getting, because they think I created a video that like I stole someone's content and posted it, because I think it's because it's a horizontal video and not a vertical. And so I'm just not getting any viewers on my live streams, and it's really annoying to me. All right, Bob, well, let's see. I thought you had a question. You did. It was about defense, wasn't it? Oh, yeah, it was JSN. Should JSN do good with DK out? Well, you would think so. I mean, you would hope so. Now, JSN has never really. JSN sort of reminds me of Tank Dell to a certain point. Like, the injury has moved him up, but I don't know that he's necessarily wrong. Smith, hold on. That he's filled in adequately. I mean, JSN, he was number one last week. He got 9.9 points. He's only topped 13 points 1 week. That was week 2 against New England. They play the Rams. The Rams pass defense. Let me just look this up real quick. The Rams pass defense is number 16. So it's right in the middle. So they average 209 yards per game. So like I said, it's, yeah, I mean, you would hope that JSN gets more than 9.9 points. He had 7 targets, 6 catches for 69 yards. Not a bad total. The problem with JSN is they're not throwing him the ball for a touchdown. He only has 1 touchdown all year. Like for example, if he had scored a touchdown last week, he would have had close to 16 points. So that's the real difference. Now, the week before, he had 3.8 points. He was targeted 6 times, 3 catches, 9 yards. So he averaged 3 yards a catch the week before last. So his numbers are not overwhelming. I think he'll do better because he'll have to do better because he'll be targeted more with DK out. Although I would like to see him get involved with the scoring more because that's how you get more points. All right, Josh, thank you very much for that the heart, as I said. And Dutchman, you are up. You sent me a live on air. Oh, I like that. There's so many different emojis or whatever the heck you call it. Let's see what Dutchman has to say here. So, Bob, if I missed anything, just let me know on that and send me a DM. Dutchman Chuba. Yeah, I think you were helping me out. Okay, I stream quarterbacks weekly. In your opinion for this week, Geno, Cousins, or Flacco? I really am against Geno. And if Bob's still on here, he can tell you Geno has been a real... Oh, Josh is here. Josh will be after Dutchman. Geno's been a disappointment. He had that one, what was it, a Thursday night game where he just could not get it together. He was overthrowing people. He just hasn't looked good. Now, Cousins... Okay, here's the thing with Cousins. I think we all fell in love with Cousins when he played Tampa Bay the first time, and he had, 35 points, and we're all like, oh my God, Kirk Cousins. They were giving him a nickname after the game. Was that a Thursday night game or a Sunday? All these games sort of, but okay, so leading up to that week 5 game against Tampa Bay where he got 35 points, he had 8, 17, 12, 8. Then he has 35, then he has 12, then he has 9. Then last week, he has 28. What is the connection? I'm not saying this to be a jerk. What's the connection between his 28-point game and his 35-point game? And Aldo, I'll get to you if you're still there, let me know. I'm getting gifts on TikTok, so they're taking precedent right now. I apologize for that. But the connection between when he got 28 points and 35 points is it's only happened against Tampa Bay. It's the same team. Otherwise, his next best game is 17.5 points. And so for that reason alone, I don't really... Oh, no question, Josh. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate the support. Dutchman, I'm going back to Dutchman because I didn't write it down, and then everything moves. Okay, Geno. So while, some people on TikTok might say, oh, Kirk Cousins has over 100 points this year, and he would be the one that I picked, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but he's gotten over 50 of the points. 62 points from one team that he's played twice. So, he's not having a great season. He's having a good season. He's having a decent season. He's an NFL quarterback. He makes millions of dollars a year. And he, had 2 good games, and ironically, they were against the same team, or maybe not ironically, but coincidentally for him. So, but Flacco to me is the interesting point. Let me look at Flacco because I have not looked at him a lot because I think people are always drop the heart, man. Kyle Singer. Okay, Flacco. When Flacco's played, he's had 3 games. He's had 2 touchdowns in all 3 games. He's passed for 168 yards, 359, 189. Okay. And they play Minnesota, which will be a test. There's no doubt about it. But he played Pittsburgh and got 15 points. Okay. Pittsburgh is a top tier defense as well as Minnesota. Let me just double check on that overall. Steelers are 9. The Vikings, where are the Vikings here? Vikings are 18 actually overall. Well, that's fantasy I'm talking about. So, in fantasy, the Vikings and Pittsburgh are the top, but average yards per game, they're not the top. So yeah, I would go with Flacco because I think that they have a better offense when Flacco's the quarterback. So anyway, okay. Since Josh doesn't have a question, I'm gonna answer some questions here on YouTube. Dak or Bo this week? I believe it's Bo. I've been looking up Dak a lot now. I don't think he has quite the assignment. They're going against Arizona. Arizona's no great shakes overall defensively, but Knicks plays Vegas, right? Or no, he plays Baltimore. Now the thing with Baltimore is they're dead last in passing defense. Okay, I'm not talking fantasy. I'm saying yards per game passing. Baltimore is dead last. And Knicks has had last 4 weeks 23, 21, 14, which isn't great against New Orleans, and 29 against Carolina. So let's just say it's a matchup like the Chargers. Against the Chargers 3 weeks ago, he had 21 points. I would start Knicks because of that. I think Dak has CeeDee Lamb, but they got to get a lot more going on offense for me to say put Dak in. Now, I know a lot of people are high on Dak. You know, one guy, I don't know why I keep bringing this up, but a couple weeks ago or a couple nights ago said, oh, you know, I'm trading Josh Allen. I'm keeping Dak for the rest of the season. Do you think that this trade that I'm giving up Josh Allen is good? And I said, why would you give up Josh Allen for Dak Prescott as your starting quarterback? There's nothing that shows me that he can consistently put up 20 points week in and week out. His offense isn't very good. They don't get the run game going. So in this matter, Aldo, I would go with Knicks. All right. And Kyle Singer asks, and then I'm going to jump back to TikTok. We got a whopping 5 people because I'm in TikTok penalty box for posting a video that I created that they said I didn't create, whatever that's about. I have it appealed, but they're taking their time on getting me the appeal. Okay. Love or Cousins, Fergie or McBride? Okay. You're asking me like 6 different questions, Kyle. Love or Cousins? I go with Love because I just looked up Cousins, and Cousins only has 2 good games, and they're both against Tampa Bay. Everything else, he has 17 points or lower. Love has played against many other teams. Okay, Fergie or McBride, and then Dobbs or McMillan. The one thing about McMillan is, and I'll answer the ones I know better. The one thing about McMillan is he didn't really put up many points last week. I thought that he might be targeted more, but it looked like Baker went a lot to Otten. He only had 7.2 points. He had 35 yards receiving, 17 yards rushing. So 35 yards receiving, if he had 60 yards receiving, I'd say, oh, that's a real promising thing. But 35 yards receiving, I don't know how much of the offense he's in. It's a little bit of a risk factor in that. Now, Dobbs, on the other hand, and I always think Dubs because to me it looks like the start of doubles. But Dobbs, last 3 weeks, he's had 18, 13, and 8.7. They go up against Detroit, but Detroit's pass defense is 27 out of 32. You can pass against Detroit, okay? They're not that great. So my point is, I would go with Dobbs in that one. He's a little bit he's more of a known quantity, and so that's why I would go with Dobbs over McMillan. And then you had Fergie or McBride. Let me pick that up. Big tight ends here. Okay. Then I'll jump back to TikTok real quick, but you really packed this one with a lot of questions, and I'm the sap. I have to look everything up. I'm not like the TikToker and YouTubers who, if you give me 2 names, I just pick people. I want to compare them, and I want to tell you why I'm picking them. And oftentimes it ends up being the context. It ends up being the defense they're playing against. McBride had 16 against Miami. Chicago is, I think, a really tough pass defense, although I just see what the Bears are. Yeah, the Bears are number 11, but man, sometimes it seems like they're even better than that. Drop a sub for your boy this week, says Nathaniel. And then McBride or Ferguson. Okay, let me look up Ferguson real quick. All right. Ferguson goes against Atlanta. You can pass against Atlanta. Ferguson's 8, 10, 2, 5. Last 2 weeks, he has gotten combined, if you add them together, 8 points. I don't like that. I want the tight ends to have 7 or over. McBride has had 16-7. Yeah, you got to go with McBride. McBride's last 4 weeks. In a 10-team league, you want your tight end to have 7 or more points every week. McBride has had that for the last 4 weeks. Okay. He's had going from last week to 4 weeks ago, 16, 7.6, 13, 8.3. You got to go with McBride. Now, I know that they play Chicago, but the one thing I always say is, you got Kyler Murray. He can do things with his legs. Plus, the tight end is oftentimes the quarterback's best friend when they're playing a good defense. You're in the 12-team league. Both matchups are all right. Yeah, I would go with McBride just because he puts up bigger numbers. Kyle Singer, I mean, Ferguson's okay, but he hasn't shown me anything over the last couple of weeks. And I don't think the offense in Dallas is clicking by any stretch of the imagination. They lost to a not so great San Francisco team. It was close. I mean, it was within one touchdown, 30-24. But anyway, all right, let's go. Josh, do you have a question now? Otherwise, I'm going to start going to, yes. Have a good one, man. I'll let you know how I finish up this week. Yes, please do. Thank you, Josh. All right, Derek Wallow, who is gifted in the past. Start for this week at quarterback. Dak, Goff, or Donald? You mean Darnold? I'm assuming. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just thinking, is there a Donald that I'm not remembering? Well, my initial thought is, and this might surprise people, is Goff. He doesn't put up gigantic numbers, but he's highly consistent. They go up against Green Bay, though. Green Bay's overall defense is 15, so it's very middle of the road. So we have Goff, Dak, Goff, and Darnold. I believe it's Darnold, right? I mean, I believe that's who you mean. There's not a Donald quarterback, right? I'm not saying that to be a jerk to you. I'm just saying, is there a Donald that I'm not thinking of? I'm sure the spell check changed it. Yeah, see, Darnold started the season really well through the first 4 weeks. And Will Burn on YouTube, I'll get to you in just a second. I have a few more on TikTok I have to go to, and I'll jump back to you. Darnold started the season 15-20, 23-21, then against the Jets, 5.26, then 17, then 18. So he's back on the way up, and he has a good matchup, a favorable matchup against Indianapolis, which does not have a very good defense, and a lot of teams pass against them. The Colts are 28th overall out of 32 teams, obviously, in total defense. So they're not great as far as on the defensive side. So Darnold has a favorable matchup. Goff, like I said, Packers are 15, so tougher. And, that's one of those, Detroit, Green Bay, they're going to, throw the kitchen sink at you on both sides. Let's see. And then you had Dak. And look, I know Dak is a wonderful quarterback. It's just they don't necessarily have the weapons this year. They've gotten away from, for a couple weeks, Dottle as their running back. I thought he was going to be the top tier. Here's the thing with Prescott. Last 4 weeks, 15-5, 18-16. Then he had, I'm going back even farther, 29, 14, 11. In a 10-team league, you want your quarterback to get 19 or more points. Dak in 7 games, because he's already had his bye, he's only done that 1 week. Now, Darnold has done that more at the start of the season. There's no doubt about that. And Goff did that. He had 18.8 2 weeks ago, 25, 26. I think the matchups, though, Prescott plays Atlanta. You can throw against Atlanta. Prescott could have a good game. The problem of it is he's only really had 1 really good game. Now, it's amazing. It's 29 points. It was against Baltimore. But, against San Francisco, he only had 15 points. Against New Orleans, he only had 14.9. Against the Giants, he had 16.7. these interdivisional ones are really tough. And that's why I think Minnesota playing Indianapolis, Sam Darnold, I think here Darnold can get back to 20 points. I think it's a good, favorable matchup for Sam Darnold. He still has weapons. Hopefully he can use Addison a little bit, who's been completely underused this year, or so far this year anyway. Obviously he's got Jefferson, Aaron Jones runs the ball well. So I think I look for Sam Darnold to build on that 18.2 he got last week to get you to 19, 20, maybe even over 20 points, which is what you want in a 10-team league. So you want that even better in a 12 or 14-team league. All right, let's see. Who else do we have here? Don't forget, guys, to hit that like button. I know you're doing a lot of it on TikTok. I can see those numbers. And also hit that follow and or subscribe. Derek Wallow sent me 13 roses on TikTok. So you are next. Thank you. Start for this week at quarter. Oh, okay. So we're done with that. You had that question. Yeah. So yeah, I would go with Darnold. You know, I just think that, well, I told you what I thought. I think he's probably destined, Darnold is destined to have a good game this week, hopefully. All right, good. Thank you. Don't forget to hit that follow, guys, and on YouTube, hit that subscribe. Let me jump on YouTube for Will Byrne. Would you start Pittman, Lockett at wide receiver? DK is out. There's also players like Robinson, Leggett, Tolbert, Washington available. Okay, so you're giving me the whole menu. I'm actually trying to try to be quicker because I go into this analysis and I think I bore the you-know-what out of people and people begin to leave even before the one thing about Brian, oh, wait. Are you talking about Brian Robinson Jr.? TK's out. There's also players like that. Robinson's a running back, though. Which Robinson is it? Let me go back. Hold on. Bijan Robinson. Wan'Dale Robinson. Wan'Dale is in a 10-team league. Yeah, I'm not saying. Okay, it's Wan'Dale. In a 10-team league, Wan'Dale just doesn't put up enough points that puts in a positive approach for you. It just doesn't do anything for you. Let's see what Pittman does. Maybe with Flacco, he'll do a little bit more. Thanks, everybody on TikTok. I'll get to you guys in just a second. Don't forget to follow so you can. It's a free way to get your questions asked over on TikTok while I'm still in the penalty box over there. MJ's back. MJ, is this the same MJ from earlier today? All right. Before I get lost in everything, who was I looking up? Pittman. That's right. Okay. Don't forget to hit those likes over on YouTube. Michael Pittman Jr. See, the thing with Michael Pittman, though, last 2 weeks, 2, 7, then 11, then 12.2, 14. I think, actually, with Flacco, he plays better. Yeah, I think he plays better. I'm leaning towards Pittman because he plays better with Flacco as the quarterback, and Flacco will be the quarterback this weekend. So that's why I'm saying I would go with Pittman. I don't want you to pick up too many people, Leggett, Tolbert, Washington. I would go with Pittman and know that you're probably going to be in the ballpark of 11 to 14 points. And if he scores a touchdown, it may be even better. He got 113 yards in week 4, then 37 with 1 touchdown, then 35 with 1 touchdown. So he has been playing with Flacco, and he's much better with Flacco. So that's why I would be. All right. Thanks, Will, for subscribing. Appreciate it. All right, back to TikTok. Let's see. I have 4 people on TikTok because I'm in TikTok purgatory. All right, Frankie, McLaughlin or Justin Hill as a flex? Justin Hill. Justin Hall? I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just saying, do you mean Justin Hall? doesn't look like he's active. If you're talking, Frankie, if you're talking Justin Hall, he's not active. Is there another? There's a Justin Hall. Let me look up Hill. Are you thinking Tyreek Hill? There's a Tyreek Hill, obviously. Taysom Hill, Justice Hill. Are you thinking what do you autocorrect Justice? Well, Justice Hill is who you're thinking of, right? Running back for Baltimore. I mean, are you in a big league, Frankie? Because Justice Hill for Baltimore is highly inconsistent. 2 weeks ago, he had 12.3 points. Week 4, he had 18. But in between those two, he had 3 and 0.9. Last week, he had 2.4. So I wouldn't recommend putting him out there. I mean, there's a risk to him, if nothing else. All right. Let's see. I like, if you're talking about Terry McLaughlin, or no, that you're talking McLaughlin, not McLaurin. Let me just do this. You're talking about Jaleel? God, are you in a huge league, Frankie? Because you're going into people who I never look at. Now, he had 12 points against Carolina. They play Baltimore, but Baltimore is tough against the run. Now, he does catch the ball, which is helpful. And that's where he scored 2 of his 3 touchdowns, catching the ball, probably obviously in short yardage. You know, he only had 3 yards and 1 touchdown. And he had 3 catches, 3 yards, 1 touchdown. So my guess is he's a short yardage out of the backfield receiver. I mean, you might want to go that way. Baltimore is not good against the pass, but they are the best against the run. So that's going to really hamper him. You know, Javonte Williams is going to have a tough day ahead of him. So you were looking at Justice Hill. Let me see. Justice Hill. We got. Yeah, I would almost go with Jaleel McLaughlin because of that. I mean, you must have a big league though, Frankie, right? Let me see. Did you answer that? Because Dalvin Cook is active, I wonder if I should start him. You might want to start him. Chiefs good stream D this week. Chiefs good team defense this week. I think the Chiefs are a good team defense. I mean, I think the Chiefs are always a good team defense. Let's just look them up over the last few weeks. I have not been to a Blues game yet, Nathaniel, but I plan to. I'm constantly doing this stuff now. Let's go Kansas City. Kansas City, here I come. All right. Yeah, Kansas, they're not great. They don't get a ton of interceptions. They had 5 interceptions on the season, 3 in 1 game against San Francisco. So they hover around 8 points probably against Tampa Bay, San Francisco, New Orleans. They're going to be close to 10. They get at least a sack a game. That helps with the points. They had 5 sacks the last game against Las Vegas. But my guess is they'll get 1 or 2. They do just enough to beat these other teams because they're a defensive first team, kind of speak. I would imagine Chiefs will be okay. They might squeak out 8 to 10 if you're lucky. You want your defense and you want your kicker in a 10-team league to have at least 10 points. All right. Let's see. Who else here? Anybody follow me? If you followed me, we're good to go on TikTok. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and then also hit those likes, guys. We have a ton of likes. We have 2,500 already on. We have 2,500 on TikTok. I know YouTube is different. You can only, I think, do that once. All right. Izzy Jizzy. Should I do Reed for Rico Dottle and Jacoby Myers? I think he should, because here's the deal with Jaden Reed. He doesn't put up a lot of points because they have a lot of targets as wide receivers and even tight end Kraft that Love throws to. So he's not putting up a lot of points. Rico Dowdle, from what I understand, is supposed to be the number one running back in Dallas. Okay. So you have that going for you. And Jacoby Myers. Now, the thing about Las Vegas is I don't think Minshew is that great of a quarterback. I'm not trying to be mean. I don't want to get into arguments with people. I just don't think he's that good of a quarterback. And I think that, I don't think he's going to be consistent. But let me just look him up real quick. And I don't think he's been consistent. But like with Madison as a running back, I picked him up because I know they're going to run the ball. Now, last game against Kansas City, again, you can throw against Kansas City. Jacoby Myers had 52 yards receiving and 1 touchdown. He had 14 points for the game. Okay, that's his second highest mark of the season. You can pass against Kansas City. But I think it's a good deal. I think Jacoby Myers, they play Cincinnati. Well, they play Denver. They play Kansas City again. Maybe he can put up 14. They play Tampa Bay, Atlanta. You can pass against both of them. They play Jacksonville and New Orleans. I think the rest of the season, the teams that Jacoby and the Raiders have to play, I think is favorable. I think it's a great trade, Izzy Jizzy. Sometimes I want to ask what the backstory is on some of these names, but all right. Let me see. Where am I? Oh, this is not. I thought Izzy. Oh, he followed me. Yeah, Izzy Jizzy followed me. Jay followed me. But you're just a letter J. There's somebody in here named Jay, like Jay. Let me see. Oh, I just passed over it. Who you think, Bo Nix or Kyler Murray this week? All right. I think I had this question a couple days ago. Hey, I have 14 people on TikTok, and I'm in the penalty box on TikTok, as some of you probably have heard. I posted a video that I made, but it's a horizontal video, not a vertical one. And they said I violated the original content, originality, whatever rules. I made the video. My face is in the video. My voice is in the video. I edited it. I produced it. I put the music behind it rather. But I appealed it, and they're taking forever to get back to me. Kyler Murray and Bo Nix. Okay. I like Nix's matchup. I know that he's going against Baltimore, but Baltimore has the worst pass defense in the NFL. And what I mean by that, I'm not talking about fantasy defense. Fantasy defenses are all different because you get points for sacks and turnovers and all that other kind of stuff. The Ravens' pass defense allows 291 yards passing. So that's why I'm saying Bo Nix actually, it's a good setup for him. I see where he's getting 20 points this week, or should get close to that at least, give or take maybe a point or two. And you want 19 or more points in a 10-team fantasy league. All right. So that's key with that. Now, the other guy, okay, this is Kyler Murray. People now, Bo Nix started the season, I think, with like 3 turnovers in both, the first 2 games. So he was kind of getting panned at first. People weren't paying attention. He's buckled down. Well, he had 2 interceptions in the first 2 games, both games. So he had 4. He's only had 1 since. So they played in 6 other games. He's only had 1 other interception, and he's thrown 8 touchdown passes. He's getting better. Like last week, he had 3 touchdown passes, no interceptions for 284 yards. That's the most yards he's thrown for. And he rushed for 4 yards and a touchdown. So he had 29 points last week, both from his feet and from his arm. All right. Kyler Murray goes up against Chicago. I think going up against Chicago is going to be tough. Now, Kyler can get out of that. And I know Chicago's pass defense is ranked 11th. It seems like they should be a little bit higher, but they're not. But you look at then Bo Nix, like I said, Baltimore is dead last. And based on the matchup, I would go with Bo Nix because Baltimore's pass defense has allowed the most yards on average per game passing in the entire NFL. So that's why I would do that. Derek Wallow, are you back? I'm getting all confused of which way. Josh Lynch, Justin, that was the beginning. Does Derek Wallow have another question? Let's see. It looks like a start for this week. Okay, I'm at Derek Wallow now. Derek Wallow. Sorry, okay. Start for this week. Dak, Goff, or Darnold. Okay, we already talked about that one. Do you have a new question, or are you just sending more? Which I appreciate. Nothing wrong with that. Thank you. All right, who has followed me? If you follow me, or if you please subscribe on YouTube, please follow so you know when I'm on, even while I'm in the penalty box with TikTok. You follow. It's a free way for me to read your chat right now, even though we only have 13 people on because I'm in the penalty box. All right. Let's see. I don't see anybody new that's followed me besides Izzy, Jizzy, and Jay. So I'm going to pick a random Tucker Wilkerson. That's a football name, Tucker Wilkerson. It's like a lineman's name, Tucker Wilkerson, right tackle. Otten or Ingram? Well, before I go into the numbers, and I always look at the numbers. See, unlike other people on TikTok and YouTube, I'm just going to do my spiel right now. I look at the numbers and I look at the context, what type of defense they're looking at. And so you had Otten, who I'm high on because, you know, he had 24 points last week, 14 before that, 8 before that. He's a tight end who you can almost play at flex. He goes against the Chiefs, but you can pass against the Chiefs. And the tight end, in this case, you already know that Baker Mayfield's number one target is Cade Otton. So I think that's a strong play. Now let's look at Ingram. I actually think I might have looked him up way early this morning when I first got on. Not that I've been on the whole time. They play Philadelphia. He's had 11, 6, 13. He's played a lot better. Philadelphia pass defense. Eagles pass defense. Let me make sure we're on pass. Yeah. Eagles pass defense is 10. Kansas City is like 17. So yeah, even the matchup is in favor of Otten. So I would go with Otten in that case. Tucker Wilkerson, starting right tackle for the Denver Broncos. I'm just making up stuff. All right, John. I don't know how to pronounce the last name. Something like that. Follow the live creator. What is your question? Worthy or Ridley this week? Okay. I get a lot of worthy questions, and I always wonder. Don't forget to hit that like button, everybody. And also on YouTube, don't forget to hit subscribe. And don't forget to hit follow on TikTok so you know when I'm live. Worthy or Riddle? Let me just write that down because when I'm talking, I forget. Ridley, not Riddle. Ridley, Worthy. I'm not high on Worthy because I don't think he ever, outside of actually week 1 when he did really good, he had 11.7, 3.9, 10.3, 14.8. They go up against Tampa Bay. You can pass on Tampa Bay, but how will they work Hopkins into the offense? You got to figure he had a short week last week, and Andy Reid's probably chomping at the bit to put him in some, wild scheme like he likes. So, there is that going on here. So I would say, let me look up Ridley before I get to my final decision here. And again, unlike everybody on TikTok and YouTube and all those guys, I look at the numbers, I look at the context. Oh, yeah. Okay. Ridley. Okay. Now, Ridley is only worthwhile if Mason Rudolph is the quarterback. So you got to check tomorrow to see if Rudolph is the quarterback. Let me just look up if there's anything new on him, like he did the walkthrough today or anything like that, because I know that comes up sometimes. Mason Rudolph. Rudolph looked prepared to match. What is this? Oh, this is from Monday? Yeah, that's not going to help me out. Let me look up Tennessee depth charts. Will Levis. Okay, we got Xavier Worthy, Calvin Ridley. Let's go Will Levis. Well, actually, it doesn't really tell us anything with Mason Rudolph. Let me look up Levis real quick. Again, I know that it's kind of boring, but I like to look at the analytics and really make it head-to-head. Will Levis is questionable for Week 9. Brian Gallen is not yet named a Week 9 starter. Okay, it looks like the Titans will take their decision down to the wire. And so let me, what I'm doing right now is I'm taking Will Levis and I'm taking Ridley. I believe where are we at here? Oh, you dirty dog. Okay, so Will Levis played in Week 2. Ridley had 22 points. Will Levis did not play last week, and he had 17 points. So that doesn't really help me out. The last 2 weeks, Levis has not played, and Ridley's gotten 5.7 and 17.6. 3 weeks before that, he's gotten 0.9. This is Ridley, 0.92 and 1.4. And that's when Levis actually played. And he is not that good. If Mason Rudolph quarterbacks, you can probably play Ridley. If he doesn't, I wouldn't do that. I would go with Worthy. Because at least Worthy, I mean, he had 11.7, he had 3.9, but the last 4 weeks he's had 14, 10, 3.9, and 11. So my guess is he's probably going to get you at a minimum of 10 to 11 points Worthy. So it's a little steadier than it is with Ridley if Mason Rudolph isn't the quarterback. So it's a lot to talk about, but anything else, Derek Wallow? I don't see anything else. All right. Nothing new on YouTube. Let's see. All right, we have 25 people on now, and I'm still in the penalty box in TikTok, meaning they don't put me in front of many people right now because they think I posted a video that I stole from somebody else, but I didn't. I made it. You can look at all my videos. I made all of them. Most of them have my sound. A lot of them have my face and sound, my voice rather. Okay, Reed Morris, who apparently is gifted in the past. Love or Knicks? This is a question that has plagued me and gone in and out all day. I've looked this up. Knicks has a favorable matchup because he's going against Baltimore. Now, back in the day, 10 years ago or so, you'd never say this, but Baltimore's pass defense is dead last in the NFL. And that's why I'm saying go with Knicks. Now, Love is not a bad alternative, but he's going against Detroit. Okay. Detroit's, let me just make sure I'm on pass defense. Sorry. The Lions are 27 out of 32 teams. The Ravens are 32 out of 32 teams. The Lions give up 247.6 on average in passing. Ravens 291. So about 40 points difference or so, a little over 45 maybe, technically 44. But so based on the matchups, I would go Knicks. The other thing I like about Knicks is that he's been very consistent where he's gone over 20 points, I think 3 of the last 4 weeks. And Love has not done that. He's been good. He got injured. He had 18, 26, 16.9. Okay. In a 10-team league, I know if you've listened for more than 5 minutes, you've heard this 30 times. But in a 10-team league, you want your quarterback getting 19 or more points. He's only done that once in the last 4 weeks, but he did get hurt last game where he only had 6.7 for 5 weeks ago. He did have 31 points, but even the first game of the year, he had 17.4. So he didn't reach 19 points even in game 1. He's only reached, if you look at it this way, 2 weeks ago, he had 18.8. We'll round up and say that's 19. Then he had 26, then 16.96. So in the last 4 weeks, Love has done it twice. So, and they're going up against Detroit, but Nix is going against Baltimore, and Baltimore actually allows more passing yards than any other team in the NFL. And that's why I'm leaning towards Bo Nix in this matchup. Their offense seems to be clicking a lot more. He's put up over 20 points 3 of the last 4 weeks. 2 weeks ago, he only had 14.06 points, but they won big, 33-10. That's probably sort of the storyline there as to why he only had 14 points. They're not going to win big against Baltimore. Baltimore can match almost anybody with points. But I'm leaning towards Bo Nix. However, yeah, okay, let's look at overall offense for Detroit and Baltimore. Detroit Lions overall are 20th. The Ravens overall are, where are they? They're 25th. So they're still worse overall, the Ravens. So yeah, I would go with Bo Nix. It's a better matchup, and I think he's locked in at quarterback. All right. I don't know who's on TikTok. It says there's one person on, so thank you very much for staying on. Hit that like button. Don't forget, everybody on TikTok, hit that like button. We have 11 people that are following. Remember, you want to follow me so you can hear me. You know when I'm on. Eventually, I'll get out of this penalty box, and my appeals will go through. I'm not worried about it because I know I made the videos, and they know I made the videos because this has happened before. It's just that this week it's affecting my live stream, and I got to stop making horizontal videos. I got to just make vertical videos. Let's see. I think we're caught up. Well, I know we're caught up on all the gifting. So who has... Oh, thank you, Alex, for sharing the live. I appreciate that. Anything I can do to get more people on, that's great. All right. So I'm going to go with, okay, follow the creator, EB4I or 41, Ladd, Coleman, or Watson. Okay, let me just write that down so I don't forget. Ladd, Coleman, Watson. Initially, like so many people on TikTok and YouTube do, I would jump out and I would say, oh, you go with Coleman. But let me look at the numbers. That's what makes me different than everybody else. Don't forget to hit those likes, guys. And we got a few new people on YouTube. Hit that subscribe so you know when I'm on. On TikTok, please hit that follow. Okay. Ladd McConkey, the one thing that my negative point with him is he's wildly inconsistent. Week 1, he had 12.4, then 3, then 5, then 15, then 6, then 7, then 26. My allergies are catching up to me right now. So it's like 1 week he's pretty good, 2 weeks he's bad, 1 week he's good, 2 weeks he's bad. So now he's in for the bad weeks, but let's face it, that's not necessarily how football works, especially the NFL. All right. Coleman, who I said would be my pick here, he's had 14 and 15 points the last 2 weeks. 4 weeks ago, he had 11.4, which is just average, but it's high average for a 10-team league wide receiver. And then 3 weeks ago against the Jets, he only had 4.1. But since Amari Cooper has joined the Bills, he's had 14 and 15. They play Miami. Now, Miami has a good pass defense. Let me just look at that. The Dolphins are number 4. So they do have a good pass defense. And then let's look up Watson. All I can think of is Deshaun Watson. I'm assuming you mean Christian Watson with Green Bay. Obviously, you don't mean the quarterback who's injured now with Cleveland. Or do you mean Justin Watson with Kansas City? Well, I'll just tell you. Christian Watson with Green Bay, highly inconsistent, 5-1. He did have 14 3 weeks ago. He had 0 points with 1 target a few weeks before that. Very inconsistent. And Green Bay has a ton of people that love passes to. He passes to Dobbs, he passes to Wicks, he passes to Reed, he passes to the tight end Kraft, he passes out of the backfield to the running back. So that's why I'm thinking if you're talking Christian Reed, he's not going to get you any points. Now let's look at Justin Watson, Kansas City. The thing with Justin Watson is with Hopkins, and Hopkins did not have a great game in his first game with Kansas City. Watson had 4.8 points, 1.3. There just aren't any leagues. There just aren't any leagues where 4.8, 1.3, 3.7 is enough. I mean, maybe if you're in a 25-team league, maybe, but I doubt that you're in that. So I'm kind of putting Watson off. I would go with Coleman because there's more consistency. And like I said, Ladd has that one good week, too bad. One good week, too bad. Then he had a good week last week. He had 26 points. That's fantastic. Now, I can't predict 20. For a wide receiver or running back, I can't really predict 20 points or more. I can barely predict 18 or over. For a quarterback, I can predict about, he should get 20 points. I think Baker Mayfield will get about 20 points, give or take 1 or 2. Right? He'll be in that area. He'll be in that area to help you out, even though they're playing the Chiefs. You can pass against the Chiefs, especially if you're the tight end catching the ball. All right. So I would go with Coleman, but if for some reason is Coleman, I just want to make sure. Yeah, Coleman's healthy. He can start. I would go with Coleman. He's shown with Amari Cooper that he's put up good numbers. He played Tennessee. He had 14.5 points against, which is over that 13-point mark for a 10-team league or any league, really. I mean, even if you have 6 teams, it's 14's good. They're playing Miami. Miami's better passing, but, they have Josh Allen. They have James Cook. They'll get their passing going. Miami might put a lot of people on Amari Cooper so he doesn't beat him, but that means Keon Coleman. That means that Khalil will beat them. So I'm not really worried about it. I think they have a lot of weapons there in Buffalo when it comes to receiving. All right. John asks, Tracy or Dobbins this week? Don't forget, guys, to hit that like and hit that follow so you know when I'm on and you can hear me again. I don't think I'll be live tomorrow. Sundays I usually pretty much watch the game, but Tracy or Dobbins? Okay. I'm surprised Tracy got through the concussion protocol so quickly, but he did, and good for him. So he'll be able to play. He was having a great game before that. He had 22 points against Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh is one of the best defenses around. Well, from a fantasy standpoint. Let's see what their rush defense is. I was almost saying the Pirates. How can I miss the Steelers? Steelers are number 4. Okay. The Steelers are that wrong guy. What am I looking at? Oh, wake up the driver. What am I looking at? Why did I look up Pittsburgh? Tracy plays Washington. Oh, they played Pittsburgh. I got confused. My bad. It must be, let's see. I've been doing this for 3 hours today. I was on for 2 hours before. They go up against Washington. Let me look up. The Commanders are 25 out of 32. All right, Zarika, I will get you next after this question. So that's a really favorable matchup for Tracy. Now let's look up Dobbins. Dobbins had 14 points last week, 8, 17. So those are good numbers. They played Cleveland. Let me just make sure I'm on rushing defense. Because this stupid. Where are the Browns? Browns are 17, so it's a favorable matchup. Oh, it's still a better matchup for Tracy. So yeah, I would go with Tracy. Tracy has the 25th rushing defense. Dobbins the 14th ranked rushing defense. So I would go with Tracy, and he did have 22 points. And let's face it, Daniel Jones is not Tom Brady, and he's not going to be Tom Brady anytime soon. So they're probably going to run the ball like they do and look for Malik Neighbors like he's done pretty much while Malik Neighbors has been healthy all year. So yeah, I would go with Tracy. All right, Zarika on YouTube. Start 2, full PPR. Worthy, Hopkins, McMillan, Adunze. I believe it's Adunze and Taysom Hill. All right. Taysom Hill, I'm throwing out. I looked him up earlier in the week. I wasn't that big of a fan. Let's look up Adunze. It's a Dun. No, it's a. No, I'm getting Dunze or Dunze. I constantly forget which one it is. Yeah, the thing with Adunze is he's been wildly inconsistent. I say that a lot. 6.95, 6.5. If you're in a 10-team league, he doesn't put up enough points. He only catches 2 times. He doesn't score any touchdowns. He only has 1 on the year. So I'm taking him off the list. Now, McMillan, I thought, would have a good week with all the injuries, but, you know, we soon found out Jalen McMillan, right? That's who he had 7.2 last week. Do I think that he's going to get more? Yes, I think, but I don't want to give you a prediction on what I'm thinking. All right. You can pass against Kansas City. They're in Kansas City, so there's no friendly confines on Monday night. Do I think he can get more than 7 points? Maybe he can get close to 10 points. I don't see that number getting that much bigger because it's abundantly clear that Baker Mayfield wants to pass to Otten and people out of the backfield because he did that last week. You're in a 12-team league. T. Higgins and Nico still out. Yeah, I'm assuming you have them. So you're scrambling. So McMillan is, and he's questionable too. He was limited at Saturday's practice, and he's listed questionable for Mondays. Oh, McMillan was a late addition to the Buccaneers' Week 9 injury report, indicating that he may have sustained a hamstring issue during Saturday's session. So that means that McMillan might not even be able to play because it looks like he got injured today. Okay, then we have Hopkins and Worthy. Now, neither one of them have done anything recently, although Worthy's put up decent points. He had 11 points last week, 3.9 before that, 10, 14. You're in a 12-team league. Worthy's probably a good bet, okay? Now, the thing I don't like what I'm about to say here is I think Hopkins is just good enough. Well, he only had 3.9 last week. For some reason, I thought he had more. I would definitely put Worthy in. Okay. I would do Worthy or McMillan if McMillan is able to play Monday night. Well, you're not going to know that, though. Oh, my God. Well, check and see about McMillan. Otherwise, you're going to have to go Worthy. Well, let me go back to Adunze. You could go Adunze. You could go Adunze and Worthy because you won't know about McMillan until probably even Monday. I doubt that they're going to have an update tomorrow. Maybe they will. So there's that. Oh, yeah. McMillan, Hopkins, and Worthy. Okay, that's fine. I'm leaning towards definitely Worthy and McMillan. I hate to say Worthy and Hopkins because they play for the same team. And if for some reason, Mahomes gets injured or, God forbid, they're laying an egg that day, and Tampa Bay's in a groove, which I don't think Kansas City is going to be 17-0 this year. I think they're going to have a loss or two, and it's going to probably come against one of these teams that you don't think that's going to beat them. So I would hate to say Hopkins and Worthy. I hate to do that because if for some reason Mahomes gets hurt, what do they have? Carson Wentz. I mean, he's decent and all that, but he may not be the guy. You know, he may not be the right backup in that case. Or maybe Mahomes, God forbid, isn't passing so well, or whatever the case is. So I would go Worthy and McMillan. If McMillan can't go, you're going to have to go Hopkins and Worthy. That's the only problem. But I do think that the best alternative could be a Dunzy and Worthy. So you have to make that decision as to when you make that. I mean, because the Bears play Sunday. So, all right, Jose is here. Hey, Jose. Pollard, Chase Brown, James Conner, Monty. Pick 2. Well, right off the bat, I like Conner and Monty. Let me look up Pollard and Chase Brown. I spent a lot of time on. Well, first of all, Pollard is questionable. In the last 4 games, he's had 17, 16, 7.5, and 13. So 3 of the last 4 weeks, he's had 13 or more. He's questionable. Pollard did not practice this week. That is a normal, clear indicator that a player. He probably won't suit up, Pollard. Okay, you'll have to check tomorrow, but more than likely he's not going to play. So we have to take Pollard off. So then we're down to Conner, Montgomery, and Brown. I would almost definitely go with Conner. I think I think Montgomery's really good too, but Conner's had 13, 16, 4, 13, 17. I mean, in the last 5 weeks, 4 times he's topped that 13 number. His bad week was 4.6. He goes against Chicago. Yes, Chicago has a good defense. I've looked this up tonight before. Let me just go. The Bears run defense is 14, so it's middle of the road. So you can score on the Bears. All right. Let's go Montgomery, or as the cool kids say, Monty. I'm not the cool kids is all I mean by that. All right, 14, 6, 20, 14, 19. He's very consistent. The one game he has the 6.5 is the game that he was injured and Gibbs got all the points. I mean, Montgomery pretty much gives you 14 points or more every week. So in my mind, he's a must. Like you're going to play him and you're going to play Conner. The thing about Brown is, while we all like Brown and we all think that he's going to, be a good running back, there's an issue with him. And the issue is the last 2 weeks, he hasn't gotten over 10 points. He got 10, 6.3, 3 weeks ago, 13, 14.9, and 22. So he had a 3-week really good stretch. The first 3 weeks of the season, their offense wasn't very good. He wasn't doing so great. Their offense kicked in. He had 22, 14, 13, then dropped down to 6.3 against Cleveland. Philadelphia, 10.4. He does play Vegas. So if you wanted to go sort of that route of a gamble, maybe over Conner, because Chase Brown has scored 22 points this year and Conner hasn't, you could go with Chase Brown. But I'm telling you right now, Montgomery and Conner are more consistent, even though Conner's playing Chicago. But like I said, the Bears are 14 out of 32. So they're middle of the road. You can run on them. They give up about 120 yards on average. And the Panthers are the worst. Well, they're tied with the Cowboys at 154 yards. So it's 30 yards more, which isn't a ton per se. I'm just saying from the worst. So I would go Conner Montgomery, but if you swapped out either one of them for Brown, I would understand. Zrika, you're welcome. He says, thank you. Hi, I'm Yulji. Hi, Yulji. All right. He introduced his name. That's interesting. All right, Jose. Thank you, Jose, for the support. I really appreciate it. All right. Alex shared the live. Thank you guys for sharing it. Don't forget on TikTok, hit that follow button. I probably won't be live during the games. I always used to say I would go live before the games, but I never really do. I know everybody goes live before the games, and I'll just be one of many. But if you have any questions and you don't want to take advantage of me, you can send me a DM on TikTok, because that's where I help a lot of different people. I think I've helped Jose if he's still on the line. Bob was on earlier. I exchanged DMs with him. So there's a lot of people I do that with, and I don't mind, as long as you don't send me like 17 questions in a day. If it's one or two, I'm totally cool with it. All right. Anybody follow me or any former gifters? Nobody else is hitting follow in Alex is doing a great job for me though. Jose, anybody else follow? Alex follows the live. I appreciate it, Alex. You're really busting your rear end for me. I appreciate it. Reed, I already got to. All right. I'm going to do rando freebie. Oh, Jansu followed the creator. Tracy or Rashad White at flex? I'm going Tracy all day. Rashad White, first of all, I think has been injured. Thank you, sir. Just put him down. Thank you. Let's just see. White. Oh, he's not questionable anymore. And he had 26 points and 13 points. Let's see. Rashad White. Let's see. What does that do with Bucky? Is Bucky listed anymore? Oh, he's still questionable. He is available for the Monday night game. Bucky is. And the reason why I say that is if Bucky plays, that's going to cut down on Rashad White's time. Rashad White, the last two games, he's gotten over 13. He's had 13 and 26. But you're asking for, hold on. See, I got to write this stuff down. I've been on an hour and 20 minutes. I was on over 2 hours earlier. We're looking at White. Yeah, Tracy and White. The one thing I'll say about, well, the other thing too is the Chiefs are pretty good against the run. Let me look them up real quick while I'm thinking of it. Yeah. Okay. Why, really? The Chiefs are number 2 against the run. They only give up 82.3 yards per game on the ground. So that's why I don't love the Rashad White at flex. I like the Tyrone Tracy, right? I'm just always afraid that I'm thinking Tyrone Tracy, but there might be somebody else. Tyrone Tracy had 22, then 4, 19, 13.5. He's really come on and taken Singletary out of that running back number 1 at the Giants. Yeah, I would go with Tracy definitely on that one. No doubt about it. All right. Don't forget to hit that like. Don't forget to hit the likes on both YouTube and TikTok and Twitch if you're on, although I don't think anybody's on Twitch. Also hit that follow button on TikTok. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Probably going to do a few more. Tubo 25, start 3. Cook, Tyreek, London, or Scary Terry. Oh, that's a start 3. Wow. That's a good problem to have. I mean, those are quality players. Maybe not the best, Cook's been putting up better numbers because the whole offense has been playing better. He was a little inconsistent. Last week, 26-9, 16-5. So a little bit of a roller coaster, but I think their offense is back on track. Miami's run defense, the Dolphins. Am I looking at run defense here? Yeah. Wait a minute. Dolphins. I thought the Dolphins. Maybe I'm thinking of passing. Dolphins are 16. Okay, let's look up Tyreek. So it's a swap of that. So I just want to look up Tyreek's numbers. Let's look up Tyreek's numbers. I'm not just trying to figure out who they're playing. They're obviously playing Buffalo. Now, he had 10 points last week with Tua back. The Bills are number 15. Okay, Drake London. And a lot of times at flex, I lean on the side of the running backs because I think it's easier to get the ball sometimes that way, because you just hand it off. But let's just see. I know London had a not so great game last game, but before that he had a very steady run. Last week 5, then before 15, 16, 27, 9.4. So average, a little low average, 15, 14, and 2.5. Against Dallas, they should be able to pass the ball. However, as I've said earlier tonight and even earlier today when I was on, the one thing that I don't like about Kirk Cousins, not that there's only one thing, but the one thing I don't like about Kirk Cousins' season is his 2 best games where he's actually gotten over 20 points has been against one team. Everything else is 17 points or lower. And you want your quarterback, quality quarterback is scoring 20 points every game. Why I bring that up, why that's important to me is that means if his numbers aren't that good against teams outside of Tampa Bay, he's not going to have, a wildly great game against these other teams. However, Dallas is a very weak team. Let's look at their pass defense. The Cowboys are 20th. Okay, so Cook plays the Dolphins. They're number 16 run defense. Tyreek plays the Bills. Why did I look up run? The Bills pass defense. Why did I look up run? I constantly think that Tyreek is a running back because I always think of him as being really fast. They're number 13, okay? London goes against the Cowboys. They are number 20. Washington and Scary Terry. Again, I know everybody on TikTok and Facebook know who everybody's playing. I don't. The thing about Terry is he just constantly puts up quality games. I mean, this is since week 3, 18, 14.7, 11.4, high average. You want that 13. He had 11.4, 20, 12.8. You round up 13, 15. He goes up against the Giants. He played the Giants and only had 5.2 points, but my guess is their offense was not in sync yet because, it's just the way it is. So, but let's see. They go against the Giants. The Giants pass defense is number 8. So really, with according to matchups, the 3 players, if you just go by matchups, you'd have London, Tyreek, and Cook. However, I might say London, Terry, and Cook. I just don't like the fact that Tyreek only had 10.5 points with Tua as the quarterback. I think that's going to be difficult. But when it comes to the matchup, it's London, Tyreek, and Cook as the matchup. That's what I would favor. Although, if it were me, I might sit Tyreek and put Terry in because he's been a lot more consistent. And I think with Jaden Daniels and the fact that he can win games with his legs changes everything because it's kind of like having 2 running backs. Oh, and there's a chance that Robinson is out as their running back, which means Eckler would get all the carries, which would put more pressure on Daniels. So maybe it is London, Tyreek, and Cook then. All right. Let's see. I got to tell you what, we got 13 on. Patrick Burke, 200. Okay, guys, I'm slowing down a little bit. I'm getting kind of tired. Let's see. Been on an hour and a half. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying where's Patrick's question? I don't see a question. Thank you for following. Alex keeps sharing the live. Thank you. Nick followed. What is Nick's question? I learned this week that sometimes TikTok censors out questions or Nick. Jansu I already got. Nick. Oh, start 3. Reed, Mooney, Smith, BTJ. Well, I wouldn't start Reed because he doesn't put up. This thing just moved. Reed, Mooney. I know BTJ was one. I have to go back and see. Oh, we got a couple more people who followed. Let's see. Who was it? Now I don't remember who asked the question. It was Nick, right? No, Bo. No, I already did that one. Oh, God bless America. Where did it go? I wish this thing didn't do that. I can't find the question now. Alex has a totally different question. That wasn't it. Ryan, nope, that wasn't it. It was Reed, Mooney, BTJ. Yeah, there we go. Reed, Mooney, Smith. And I have to start 3. Well, I'd take Reed out. And right now I'm looking at Mooney, BTJ, and Smith. Let me look them up. Again, if you're new to my channel, I'm not one of those guys on TikTok or YouTube that just goes with their gut and says, play this guy, play that guy, play this guy, play that guy. I look at the numbers, I compare them. I also take into context. So I look at the data and then I look at the context, who they're playing, those kinds of things. Let's look up. Who's that? I took Mooney out. BTJ. Let's go. Brian Thomas Jr. $19.13. They play Philadelphia. Can you pass on Philadelphia? I think the Eagles are number 10. Let's look up Mooney real quick. Mooney plays Dallas. You can run. You can pass on them. Wait a second. Cowboys passing defense. Cowboys number 20. Like I said, the one thing about Jaden Reed that I don't love is they have so many offensive weapons, at least from a receiving position. They have Dobbs, they have Wicks, they have Reed, and I think Dobbs and Wicks have been getting more points over the last 2 or 3 weeks than Reed has. Devontae Smith, let me look him up. I think last week he got back on track points-wise. I think before that. Now, there's a guy on TikTok that constantly says Devonta Smith because he doesn't follow the sport. He doesn't know. But, yeah, so Devontae Smith, 17.3, 13. Then he was out, 11, 17, 11. They go against Jacksonville. That's a no-brainer. I'll just look up Jacksonville because I'm comparing everybody. But the Jags are number 31. So, definitely Smith. I would say BTJ and Mooney. Mooney based on, I would go BTJ because he's a little bit more consistent. Mooney based on who they're playing and the fact that the Cowboys are number 20 in passing. And then I would go Smith because they're playing Jacksonville. I mean, that's sort of a no-brainer. Reed, the thing about it is, okay, so like Mooney, 16, 7, 5. I'm going back 3 weeks, okay? So Mooney, Brian Thomas Jr., 13, 19, 4. All right. Then, well, that's not the guy. Devontae Smith, 17.3. That wasn't good. And then 13. So each one of those guys, 2 of the last 3 weeks, have at least 13 points or higher. 13 points or higher are ideal in a 10-team fantasy league. Okay. Now I'm just going to tell you what Reed's done the last 3 weeks and why, although he's probably the best running back, if you will, on the team, they have a lot of weapons. He's had 6, 2, and 11.8. And 11.8 is average. Even if you round up to 12, in my mind, you got to get to 13 in a 10-team league. He's only had 2 weeks over 13 points. They were week 4 and week 1. The reason is Love spreads it around. Even Willis spreads it around when he's quarterbacking. You know, Reed is the number 1, and probably on other teams, like on the Texans, maybe, you know, they would be thrown to him all the time. He would have, points like Nico Collins had before he got injured, or he would continue that. But it's not the case. It's not happening. They have, they throw to everybody. Love really spreads it around. He's that prototypical Green Bay Packer gunslinger. Whew, okay. Where am I at? I got to tell you guys, I'm wiped right now. Thank you for all the follows and the hearts. Hopefully soon I'll get out of this penalty box on TikTok and I'll have a full system of a full number of viewers. I'm not having that right now. They're keeping me down a little bit, but overall I had 1,800 viewers tonight, so that's not too bad. 3,300, almost 34. Oh, now 3,400 hearts. So I want to thank you all. I probably won't be live tomorrow, but I don't know. Maybe if I get an itch, maybe I'll jump on, but I think I have a lot to do. So I will talk to you all later. Thank you for watching and take care.